Good morning. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Mariel.
Good morning.
Good morning. Here comes Daphne. Hi, Daphne. How are you?
Hi. Good
Hello.
morning.
Oh, your voice sounds so enthusiastic. I like it. It's a very cold, rainy, gray day here. It's not like super cold, but it's very gray and rainy. Mariel knows.
Where are you again?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Where are you hailing from?
I'm in Philadelphia,
Oh, okay.
so
I
it's
like
not
Philadelphia.
it's not so great here either.
I've had some adventures there. I tried to go to a University of Louisville game there once, and then when I got to the arena, it was not there. It was at a different location, and there was a couple that had made the same mistake, and we were all like walking back to the parking lot at the same time, and they offered to give me a ride.
Oh, that's great.
So, and I didn't have a ticket or anything. I was hoping to like get there and buy the ticket, and they ended up having an extra ticket. And so I just like sat and watched the whole game with them, and they were so sweet. They like bought
Oh,
me
that's
concessions
awesome.
at halftime and like took me on a little tour of Philadelphia after the game before they dropped me off at my friend's house. It was great. Their names were Rose and David, I think. They were so sweet. They said they had a kid my age. I was like in my early 20s.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
I,
that.
yeah, I think they missed their, I think it was a son. I think they missed their son and they were like, we just want to hang out and welcome you to Philadelphia. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
I've been to Louisville once, but it was at a conference, so like one of those things where I got to know the hotel really well and like the view from
Gotcha.
my balcony and like the stores around
Ooh,
the
you had a
corner. Yeah.
balcony. That sounds nice. Do you remember where you stayed? Were you downtown or was it out
It was
somewhere?
usually downtown because it was. I was trying to think, but just now I'm like, I can't picture it. Uh, Usually because these conferences they were like historical renovations. It was like a
Oh,
company
neat.
that did like investments in like it was an investment firm for historic building
Well, that's
renovations.
very cool.
So usually these hotels have been recently renovated, and so then um,
We've got
so it
a
was
couple
usually a
nice
nice.
historic. Yeah, we've got the Brown is downtown and the Sealback. Those are kind of our two like old fancy hotels.
I wonder if it was the Brown. That sounds pretty familiar.
I
I know
like the Brown. It's really pretty.
I'll have to look it up and see, remind myself.
Yeah, I think people talk about the Sealback more because it was in The Great Gatsby, but I think the Brown is prettier. It's got this beautiful ceiling and they've got a big crystal ballroom with all these mirrors and it's very
I
fancy.
think that was it. I do think that was it. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see all these beautiful spots and
Yeah,
because it was an investment firm that's you get those perks.
that's nice. I'm hoping now that the pandemic is over, I'll be out and about town a little bit more. Well, I mean, it's not over, but things are things are definitely going back to normal this summer in a way that they haven't been for the last couple years. So I'm hoping more festivals and stuff will happen again and spend a little more time downtown on the waterfront, probably.
Yeah.
But not today. Quite the chilly, rainy day today. Hi, Lori. How are you? Oh, and
I'm,
Robin. I didn't see you come in.
hey, hi. Where are you, Emily?
Good morning.
Good morning, Robin. I am in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, hey, my husband was born there. So yeah,
No
hey,
way. Oh,
yeah,
that's great. Well, we're practically family then.
exactly.
I legitimately feel that way about anyone else that I meet from Kentucky. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, then, we're kin.
My husband's family,
Especially if we're both from Louisville, then it's like, okay, yes.
yeah, my husband's family probably stole a horse from yours
Oh,
at some
no.
point in the history.
I don't know. My family way back came from the mountains, and my great grandmother actually came to Louisville on the orphan train.
Oh,
So that I've always wanted to look into that history a little bit more. I only really
that's
recently
really cool.
learned about this for over the last couple years. My grandmother passed away last year, and before that happened, she was in a nursing home. Right when COVID hit, she had gotten put in a nursing home because she broke her hip, and so we talked a lot on the phone. We always had, but she especially like didn't have anything to do once she was in there. So we talked a lot, and she told me all these stories about her family's history. And yeah, my great grandmother was removed from her home. I had always thought she was actually orphaned, but I guess her dad couldn't take care of them once her mom died in the flu epidemic. So
Ah,
she and her three siblings were removed and sent to Louisville on the train. And she grew up in foster care. A couple tried to adopt her when she was like 17, and she actually said no. She wanted to go back to the orphanage. It was that good of an orphanage, which I think is amazing.
yeah.
Um, that's amazing that so many kids probably had, a positive experience there. I think a lot of places, especially back then, were quite difficult to be a part of. But yeah, very interesting family history that I have always, since I found that out, I've always wanted to look more into it. Just haven't had the time yet. Well, I tell you what, we're getting to about almost 10 minutes in here. And so I think that folks have probably joined us who are going to be able to join us today. Part of me was thinking I would do this reading before we meditate today because it's about meditation. But I don't know. I kind of like the thing that we are doing of having the reading afterwards. So maybe let's go ahead and sink into our meditation a little bit, and then I'll leave you with this nice little gem to remember for next time. And also, I just want to encourage folks, 15 minutes of meditation a day is a great start. But if you so choose, you can always have like a morning practice and an evening practice. So if this, inspires you, then you can start setting a timer for 15 minutes shortly before you go to bed. And especially if you have issues with sleep or anything like that, it can really sort of help calm your body and mind down to give you a chance to get some good rest at night. So just throwing that out there. So let's go ahead and just let go of some of the energy of the hustle and bustle of the morning, or thoughts that we might have. Oh, hello, Gail. Good. I'm glad that we I'm glad that we hung out for a little bit longer this morning. Hi, Gail. We're just about to move into our meditation. So, calming the mind, just bringing our awareness a little closer. If you're thinking of your awareness as the whole world, bring it into your city, and then bring it into your neighborhood, and then bring it into your home, and then bring it into right outside your own skin, and then bring it just inside your skin, and then start to concentrate it into one point in your body. Just sort of bringing that awareness inside. And this time as we meditate, remembering that nice contact of the sit bones with the ground beneath you, letting the spine rise up, letting the back of the neck be long so the chin comes a little bit inward. Eyes gently closed. Breathing in and out through the nostrils. As you're doing that, just allow that concentration of your awareness. And by concentration, I mean that coming into one point. So if you want to imagine that point somewhere in your body, And just spend the next 15 minutes bringing your awareness back to that one point. And every time it drifts, and it will, every time it drifts, just notice when you pick back up your awareness that you come back to that one point. And just keep doing it. Every time your mind drifts, it'll go for a little bit, and then at some point you'll think, I'm drifting. And then just gently bring your concentration back for 15 minutes. Here we go. we're coming back into the body, back into the world. And we'll have our reading here in just a moment. At the beginning of this meditation, though, I felt sort of inspired to share something else since we were on the topic of my great grandmother's sort of journey. Right before we went into it, she came from a very hard life. Whatever the situation was, she was removed from in her home was not good, whether it was neglect or abuse. And she came to the Kentucky Children's Home here in Louisville, and that was when she was 9, and she grew up in foster care, and she was given out to many, many families for work. And who knows what she experienced when that happened. Some of them were good to her, many were not. And she always returned to the home. But throughout her entire life, she had this couple that was very good to her and wanted to adopt her when she was almost 18. And she declined. She went back to the home because she felt safe there. But she did end up having a very good relationship with this couple throughout the rest of her life. My grandmother was actually named after the woman, Ruby. And my mom grew up calling her Aunt Ruby. They knew them and they would visit them. And even though they did not adopt her, they kind of became her family as she was older. So I think that even though that beautiful relationship existed, she still chose to go back to the children's home. And one of the things she said throughout her entire life was, they taught me right from wrong. And that meant so much to her as she went throughout her life, that I guess whatever situation she came from as a child, that was not part of it. And there was, not the family structure or the care that we might come to expect in a family, but she found a place that taught her right from wrong. And I don't know why exactly that struck me at the beginning of this meditation to share, but I think it just shows that sometimes we think that that's judgmental, or that that's, maybe harsh to explain to someone if we see that they're doing something like, hey, I think there might be a better way to look at this, or maybe rethink that. Maybe that's not kind. Maybe think of this a different way. Sometimes we can be hesitant to do that, but I think that it can also be a real gift to people. And it can also be something that they can take with them for the rest of their life, and that makes them actually feel safe and cared for. So just a balance to strike there. Just thought I would share that before we wrap up that topic. And then I do have the reading for today that I selected. And this is actually about meditation in a way. It's really more about the mind. But it's something really nice to keep in mind when we are moving into meditation. And this is from the book, The Yoga of Discipline by Swami Chidvilasananda. It is the nature of the mind to be active. Have you noticed? It wants to flit from one object to another, like a butterfly from flower to flower. You cannot expect something to go against its own nature. You are only courting disappointment if you do. It is much more sensible to examine a thing, in this case the mind, on its own terms. When you see what its qualities are, then you understand why it is the way it is, and you can begin to predict what it will do. This is how the sages approach the mind. They saw that the mind has a tendency to latch on to something it likes or dislikes and concentrate on that exclusively. If it likes something, it stays there. If it dislikes something, it stays there. From this tendency, the sages evolved guidelines for meditation that help the mind become immersed in pure consciousness in God. By following these guidelines, a meditator can learn to use his mind for a higher purpose. And we'll leave it at that for today. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Emily.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.